This is our destination. The female centre of the Earth at its most powerful time, Inti Raymi, the winter solstice. And we can't see a thing. This is the story of who we are and how we got here. 9 virtual strangers had come together to walk the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. There should have been 10, but the organiser, Bella Marie Daniels, at the very last minute, was unable to make the journey. We came together at Schiphol Airport, and then, over the next 24 hours, got to know each other as we travelled to Peru and the wonderful city of Cusco. Two days at 11,000 feet, acclimatisation in preparation for the trek. Two days of temples, Inca ruins and markets.
Those are the foundations from the cylindric tower. They had 8 meters high, I told you. Those are original stairs, and look at how polished are the stones.
Did I mention markets? Markets mean shopping. Shopping? This team are Olympic standard. At 9:45 on the 18th of June, we signed in on the Inca Trail, crossed the Urubamba River and started on the trek. The vast majority of visitors to Machu Picchu take the train. The trail starts off deceptively flat and then gradually becomes steeper and steeper. "90 minutes later, our first break and time to reapply the sunblock.
Yeah, there are more than 100.
Our hard-earned first 1,000 feet are soon lost with the next downhill stretch. Lunch at 1 o'clock and a chance to relax for 1 hour before the 30-minute uphill hike to Huayllabamba, the last habitation on the trail. The steep ascent now began, and for the next 2.5 hours we slowly made our way uphill from deep in the valley below to our campsite at 12,500 feet. Today was the first and therefore the easiest day. Can we just go around and get a few seconds from each of you, Ivan?
Easy. It was the first year I've waited up about half an hour for everybody.
No, it was bloody difficult to do the second half. The second half was hard, but I made it. I'm alive. I don't know about tomorrow.
I think Cesar's been practicing a bit of reverse psychology, really.
Yes.
Getting us up the hill, saying it's only another 15 minutes, and then it's only another 20 minutes. You're just going to go up to the flat bit, and the flat bit's always up and down, up and down.
Yes, I'm with Claire. I'm testing Cesar out definitely tomorrow. tomorrow. I'm not going to believe a word that you tell us, actually. I'm dreading the last bit. I have to say it's been pretty tough at points today.
It's been absolutely exhilarating. It's been fulfilling.
It's been tough, but I've kept up, so I'm really pleased with myself, considering how unfit I am.
It's been an absolutely exhausting day, and I think in the first half hour I thought, I'm just not going to be able to do this. But something just spurs you on.
It's been a great day, very trying, but we've had so many laughs, and it's been really interesting, very tough, but really enjoyable.
It's just before 6 in the morning. The party will be setting off to climb the pass in less than 1 hour's time at first light. Dead Woman's Pass is the highest point on the Inca Trail, 14,200 feet and about 3,000 feet above where we've spent the night. Cesar, our guide, believes we can do it in around 3 hours.
The last hour and 3/4 we've been at. It's called the Gentle Pass. We've climbed perhaps 2,000 feet. And this is what the Peruvians call flat. But way down there in the sunshine is where our campsite was and where we started from maybe 2 hours ago. What we have ahead of us is what they call the steep bit. But we're carrying next to nothing compared with the porters who are carrying all our camping gear and all our rucksacks. Not just one porter for a rucksack, but sometimes one porter is carrying 3 of our rucksacks, perhaps 45 kilos. And going up the trail ahead, you can see the other parties who actually set off behind us. The view, though, is magnificent. Here you can probably get an idea of the height we've come, stretching back to round the bend.
Hideous steps that were described in the book as purgatory.
Our climb to the top of Dead Woman's Pass continued. The altitude and the thinness of the air meant that we were walking with more and more difficulty. By the end, we were resting for 50 seconds in every minute.
Having a wonderful rest. It's been fantastic.
3 3/4 hours after leaving our morning campsite, Linda was the first to the top of Dead Woman's Pass. Claire reached the top at 10:57.
I made it!
And Sue and Sharon were a couple of minutes behind at 10:59.
Bloody bag.
Susie, though, was suffering. She eventually made the top at 11:20.
I knew this morning what I know now. I'd have told the owners to
Fee a few minutes behind her at 11:24. And then later, Ivan and Natalie came in some 4 3/4 hours after leaving the campsite.
I deserve to be carried on somebody's back.
From then on, it was all downhill. Except what downhill? Even steeper than the ascent, and uneven steps meant for the next 45 minutes the most difficult of descents. I think it was Fee who described the Pacamayo campsite where we had lunch as like Butlins on the Inca Trail. And so it was with some pleasure that we left that to make the final climb of the day to our campsite next to a lake.
My fan club!
It took 5 hours to descend from Dead Woman's Pass across the track scouring the valley from left to right, lunch in the valley floor below, and then the climb to our campsite beside the lake at 12,500 feet. After all the pain and all the agony, the beauty and the solitude made it all worthwhile.
With sugar, without sugar.
Another early start, and then we're off on day 3. It takes less than an hour to reach the second pass at 13,000 feet, and we are rewarded for our efforts with a brand new snow-capped range of mountains. The steep path down is clear to the ruins of Marca.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Conchamarca is at the valley floor, and by now the sun has risen and it's starting to warm up.
Oh God, that's better.
And then once again, onwards and upwards to the third pass at 11,800 feet. The arid conditions now changed as we entered temperate jungle, and we were surrounded on either side by lichen and ferns. Linda persuaded a porter to swap loads for a short time.
God, it's really, really heavy, huh?
Down through one of the man-made Inca tunnels, and then one final view at high level before we descended towards a well-earned lunch. Our lunch stop also gave us a wonderful view of Inca Trail, the ruins just above our final destination of Winewena. However, we didn't have to take the path which you could see, we had to descend the 5,000 steps. It was at the Inca ruin of Fuyu Patamaga that we all saw our first condor. All the rest of the afternoon was spent in descending the 1,700 feet of Inca steps down to our campsite at Inti Trail. That night in the tent, Roxanne, our assistant guide, summed up our progress.
In the Inca Trail for 4 days with our group is very nice. It's very interesting for me. You walk very slowly.
Up the next morning at 3:30 for a 4:15 departure down to the checkpoint at Winewena. Once we were signed in, all we had left on the Inca Trail was the final 90-minute walk to the sun gate of Inti Punco. Once there, we realised that we would not be seeing Machu Picchu from above today, and so Cesar kindly held up a postcard. Realising that we weren't going to see Machu Picchu from the sun gate, we descended the 1,000 feet down to the centre. Then, for the next 2 hours, Cesar showed us round. Linda whispered sweet nothings to a llama, who was not impressed. I think we all conquered private demons whilst on the trail, Fee more than anybody, until 4 days ago she suffered from vertigo. In late morning we left Machu Picchu and took the bus down to the railhead town of Aguas Calientes. It could have been the euphoria after finishing the trek. It could also have been the beers and the pisco sours that we consumed. Whatever the reason, the rest of the afternoon was spent in the town of Aguas Calientes, and I'm sure many of the residents won't forget our visit in a hurry.
Are you watching, Susie? Are you watching?
In shopping, the team spent the equivalent of the GDP of a small Central American country. $250. At the end of the afternoon, we weaved our way in the dusk back to our hotel. The next day dawned clear, and a group of us went back to Machu Picchu to see the views that were denied us the day before. The day was spent in Machu Picchu, and then we all gathered to catch the early evening train back to Cusco. We very soon passed the bridge where we had started the trek just 5 days earlier, and then 4 hours later arrived above the city of Cusco in time for a magnificent firework display. Our final day in Cusco was spent watching, enjoying and even taking part in the wonderful parades that filled the city throughout the day. On behalf of the Sunny Side Up charity, thank you for sponsoring the trek, and we leave you with images of Cusco celebrating Inti Raymi, the winter solstice.